Alex. I'm lead as pre-sale specialist for Ubiquiti. Just wanted to record a video showing how the Ubiquiti Protect setup is done. This is a little bit of a more detailed explanation. We do also have a summarized version that takes about 5 minutes. It is linked in the video description, so if you're just looking for the quick bits on how to get it set up, that is the easiest way to do it. For a more detailed rundown, we're going to do the comprehensive setup here and try to go through most of the Protect features. So we'll start off by just taking a look at our environment. So I've already gone ahead and set up a Dream Machine Pro. It's a console that supports the NVR capabilities or the Protect app, and this allows us to record the cameras, set up and manage our network environment, and take full control from there. So you'll see I've already got the cameras here, although I haven't set them up or adopted them just yet. We're going to be doing that in a minute. So if you're not sure how to get started on the Dream Machines, there is a comprehensive guide on our channel as well. You can also refer to techspecs.ui.com. Tons of good resources there. What we're going to do as a first step here is we're basically approaching this as a new environment. We don't have any Wi-Fi networks or anything else set up just yet. Um, Up to you in terms of how you want to approach this on the network side though. So one of the things that we frequently recommend is creating a new virtual network for different segments of your environment. So let's say, for example, I wanted to have a virtual network for my cameras and security only. It is a good idea to do that because it allows you flexibility in terms of um, the firewall rules that you apply, what can and cannot be done on this network environment, and allows you to split your users out from your camera environment. We have a comprehensive guide again on this on our channel as well on how to set these up. So if you're unsure, please have a look through the rest of our videos. We don't need to go through this all right now. We're going to basically assume this is just a flat network, and we're going to adopt the cameras to the default space. By default, you'll see only the network application is installed. I've already gone ahead and installed the Protect app as well as Access and Talk, although those are out of scope for this video. If you need to install anything, you can just literally click on the install button and that will start the process. When it's done, you'll see a icon at the top when that's initiated that allows you to move over to that segment for surveillance or VoIP or whatever segment you're looking to work on. If you want to test this in a lab environment, you can also change your release channel to early access, and that allows you to see what's coming from Ubiquiti. Most of the features that you're seeing today is in a production environment, so you should see stuff that is representative of what you're going to get in the real world right now. So with this, once that setup is completed, you'll see that icon appear, and we're going to move over to that now. We don't have to worry about the security or routing and stuff like that by default. So the firewall rules on Ubiquiti are pretty intuitive. They are set up to protect your environment by default. So we don't have to worry about that too much. If you want to apply granular rules around protecting certain things, you definitely have that capability. So let's move over to Protect. So we're going to work through the setup and basically do it the way that I would normally configure my customer's environment. You can follow any path here. It doesn't have to be exactly the way I do it, completely up to you. The first thing I'm just going to start off with, I will typically work through my storage manager. So storage manager is where we set up and manage our drives as well as configure our RAID and apply a bunch of stuff. I don't have any drives installed on this. Obviously, you need a hard drive to record the video footage. Depending on the device you have, they might have a built-in drive as well. And in fact, I do have a device that has that. So I'm going to switch over to that. This is one of our displays at our Melbourne branch, and you'll see it has some built-in storage. With this, I would be able to format the drives, set up my RAID array, and kind of configure the environment to my liking. It'll also show me the usage, so what is being consumed on this drive and what is actually causing that consumption. So video recordings, archiving persistent footage, etc. So a bunch of different types of content around that. So once the setup is done, it takes a few minutes, obviously, for the drives to initiate and do its thing. But once that's done, you are pretty much good to start configuring the cameras and adopting them, etc. It's not compulsory to do it this way. You can move to the second step first, which is basically I've already got a couple of cameras adopted here, but I'll move back to an environment where I still need to do that. So this would be your second step typically, or it can be your first. And what I need to do is I need to adopt these cameras into my NVR. What it means with adoption is as soon as I click the adopt button, this device belongs to this NVR. And it means that if someone else was to plug in a Ubiquiti NVR into this environment, they can't just steal the cameras from me and record their video footage. It's a security mechanism. So this process is extremely simple on Ubiquiti. You don't need to log into each device, change its IP address, and then make it reachable. The devices are set up to DHCP by default, so they've gotten their IP addresses automatically based on what I have on the network side. And I just need to click on the adopt button. I can do this one by one. If I have more devices, I can also do this in bulk as well. So this is a lab environment, so like obviously the display is not going to be perfect. We'll hop over to something that's got a better view in a minute. But that's it, the cameras are now set up. They are live. If I go to my dashboard view here, I can see the cameras live as well. We'll go back to that in a minute. Um, I can also do stuff like add name tags, adjust the quality, etc. We're also going to be doing this in time. So cameras are there. As a next step, what I would typically go do then is set up my recording manager. Obviously, we want our cameras to record at a specific time interval or specific variables. So this one, because I don't have any storage installed, you're going to see there's almost no settings here, and that makes sense. So let me switch over to one where we do have the storage installed. So go to settings again, and my recording manager, and you'll see I have a bunch more cameras here. You'll also see I have some access control devices here, and yes, you can 100% make that part of your Protect environment. So the cameras that are on the door readers, etc., they are manageable through here as well. So what I'm going to do is apply in bulk a setting to record my cameras and then apply manual overrides. So let's say, for example, I want my cameras to always be able to record. That basically means that it's not going to necessarily continuously record. It just means that if there was an event at any point in time, it would trigger the recording to start. I can also say that I only want to record during a custom schedule. So let's say, for example, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. business hours, and any event that happens during that time we should record. That's dangerous though, because like when do break-ins happen and stuff like that, it's typically when you're out of the office or away from the central space. So if you need to set this up, do think about it carefully in terms of your times. My personal preference is to use always and just set it to motion recording or event recording. You can also say the camera should never record as well, depending on what your customer wants or what you want to achieve from it. If I say events only, it's going to say, okay, cool, we can record on motion events. I can also say that I want to say, like, let's say, for example, only 2 seconds of motion should trigger the recording to start. A good use for that might be something like, I don't know, a bird flying past the lens, or um, a mozzie or something like that, where you don't want that short um, motion to trigger the video to start. So up to you how you configure this, and then I can also say how many seconds before and after the video footage or the event has started do I want to record. A common use case for this would be stuff like fences. If you want to see someone climbing over a fence, it's oftentimes it doesn't detect the person initially because they could just be walking past the fence, and you'd have a motion exception area or something like that. Then you can basically sometimes miss that first start of the event. So with this, I can just say a little bit more after the event and a little bit before the event. I can record that as well. I can also choose where the AI events are recorded. We're going to work through that in a minute. On here, we can also apply a ton of different stuff. So we can adapt our frames per second, our video compression, our encoding type. There is an enhanced encoding type that does save you a bit of storage. Do play around with this. It does come at the cost of a bit of resources, so just check that out. And then you can also say, I want to set up a recording resolution. Obviously, your cameras are going to have different resolutions between them, so it might not be possible on all the devices. In terms of setting up the microphone, so some businesses do not want voice recording as part of it, and some states have laws around that. So something to think about, just be careful with the button that says disable permanently. It will turn off the microphones on your cameras, and you will not be able to re-enable them until you factory reset that device. It is done as a protection mechanism. And then I can also set up my recording retention. How long do I want to keep the video footage for? I normally recommend auto because it will try to use 99% of the storage, or actually it's more like 95% of the storage, um, and just leave a little bit of a gap so there's enough for processing and ingesting the video. And it's very smart with the way it does it. It will automatically base it on your drive capabilities. If you just want to set a fixed value of, let's say for example, 30 days, you can. It just means you might not be using the full capacity of your drives. It just saves you time by going for auto, and it does work very well from Ubiquiti. Okay, so let's say that's all configured. I can obviously go apply individual overrides here as well to say, I want this specific camera to record on these motion events only or during these times of day. Lots of flexibility around this. We're going to do this on a per camera basis in a second as well. So the recording manager is set up. Your camera should now be recording, depending on what you've set up here. And as some of the final steps, what I'll do is I'll go through my system settings. So a couple of things we typically recommend enabling. I'm actually going to hop back into my other environment quickly so we can see this. In the system settings, you'll see, obviously we can change um, our format, our temperature format, and that is for sensor devices. Ubiquiti does have a range of sensor devices coming in as well. And then in terms of the AI events, so this is something that I would recommend turning on if you have one of the advanced AI Ubiquiti cameras that are capable of doing facial recognition and license plate recognition. If this is turned off, you won't get those smart triggers. You will also get a prompt if you install one of these smart cameras or smart AI cameras, advanced AI, then you will get a notification to tell you, hey, you should probably turn this on. That's a good way to do it. So by default, I would recommend turning this on. We can control the update behavior of our environments. If you're one of the people that believes in if it's not broke, don't fix it, you can 100% set up your environment for that as well. Although security and just a general best practice point of view, it might be best to rather look at doing more frequent updates. So as the next step over, what we're going to do is we're going to go to archiving. I will ignore audio files for the moment. And what archiving allows us to do is essentially set up a linked account to push this video footage to, or specific video footage to. So an example might be I can push a video clip to Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, or even NAS. Why this was introduced is for customers that are worried about the fact that their NVR is on premise, and that's something we have to note here. The console should be on premise with the cameras. You can do site-to-site VPNs, etc. as well, but putting that amount of throughput across a site-to-site VPN might not be the best idea. So with this, we can say, okay, if there's a critical event that we want to back up, we can push that through to one of these services. NAS is obviously the easiest one because it's typically something that can be local, and you just specify the IP address, port number, username, and password. This process takes 2 minutes to set up, and once you're done, it will allow you to archive the video footage. Important that this is only for manual archiving at this stage. Underneath that, there is an option for continuous archiving. You'll see it says labs at the moment. It's still very new, but this allows you to basically say that if the video footage reaches a certain age or specific types of video footage, it should be archived to the NAS or whatever location you've set up automatically. It makes things a little bit easier in terms of having cloud backup of your video footage as well. By default, none of the video footage that is stored on these NVRs gets pushed through to any type of cloud, Ubiquiti's cloud or otherwise. So this has to be set up if you want to make use of that. And as the final tab over here, this is something I would recommend taking a look at, specifically because we want to make a backup of this recovery code. So when a camera connects to the NVR for the first time or the console, that adoption process basically, it's kind of like embedding a recovery code on the camera. And without knowing what that recovery code is, if I then replace the NVR, I would not be able to adopt those cameras again because those cameras are linked to something else. So let's say, for example, your NVR fails. Shouldn't happen, but we know how electronic things are. In 2 years' time, 5 years' time, whatever, and you want to replace that NVR with something else. It can be problemsome because if you didn't make a backup of this, your 100 cameras that you have scattered throughout the building would need to be taken off the wall, manually reset, and then readopted. So please keep this in a safe place. Very important. Another important setting here is we can actually encrypt our video streams if we wanted to. This does use a fair amount of system resources, so check this out before you apply it. It can also increase your throughput. Heat mapping. So heat mapping is where we can see where we have the most foot traffic in an area. It's very useful in retail spaces. Also consumes a bit of processing power. So if you're basically nearing the max capabilities of your NVR, it might be a good thing to flick off if it's not something that you're using. Geofencing allows us to basically check where our users are at. So we can say potentially that if like I leave a specific site, that it should only start recording motion events once I'm not on that site. So this is basically based on location. Low latency video support, it just means that the way the video is recorded and scrubbed is much faster. It does use a little bit more processing power to do that. And again, this is more for if you're nearing the max capabilities of your device. An important one here is this, discovering third-party cameras. So this is OnViv support. This is off by default. And if you have, let's say, for example, I don't know, any third-party brand that you want to introduce, you have to tick this on. Just know that when you're using third-party cameras, there is some caveats along with that. Most notably, you cannot do motion recording, and you cannot do, I think the audio is disabled and pan tilt zoom is disabled as well. So you're only pulling the video feed out of that device. Ubiquiti does have the AI, I think it's the AI key that allows you to effectively make use of that motion recording capability by offloading the processing of the video footage to that device. So that's an important thing to just double check if you're going to use third-party cameras. So it's not the AI key. I'll double check what the AI model is before we end this video. But it is basically a separate piece of hardware that does the processing for you. There's also an option here for reporting false detections. We're not going to play with that. And then device also bridging as well. That's something that's kind of out of scope for this. So that's pretty much all the settings we need to do. As a next step, we'll typically go configure our cameras. So I'll move to something with cameras that are a little bit more pretty. And I will start to apply individual camera quality overrides. So let's say this AI Pro, I can rename it and I want to also adjust its image quality. By default, it should look pretty good, but what we're trying to avoid is stuff like cameras that are skew. So this one, because it's installed in a space where people can interact with the cameras, people change the view and it gets skewed sometimes. So that's something we might want to change, but you'll obviously know that. And then other stuff that we can adjust on this is, of course, stuff like our shutter time, our exposure. If the video footage in the background here looks chunky and low quality, that's because I'm doing this remotely as well. I'll quickly flick this over to high quality, which should improve it a little bit. And I can adjust the shutter exposure for either low light or frame clarity, so more clarity or better low light. I have HDR control capabilities as well. You'll see some of the AI features flicking on as it's interacting with the live environment. So HDR is very good for low light environments or contrasting light environments where I have a lot of lights coming in that might be distorting the front of the view versus the back of the view, for example. Of course, like we saw before, we can change the frames per second. Lower frames per second would give you a bit more storage, but you do lose that smoothness of the image. We can compress this image if we wanted to, just obviously losing a bit of quality there. Our night vision control, we can say when the IR filters kick on, if you want the IR filters to kick on at any point. We can adjust the picture quality, brightness, contrast, saturation, hue, and all that stuff. And the important one here is frequency setting. So if you have blurry lines across the screen, a very common cause for that would be your lights. So depending on the line frequency of your building and the lights that are around you, you might see that. Play around with this if it doesn't automatically find the best solution for it. Okay, so very simple to get this adjusted. Everything's done via GUI. Everything's done centrally. I can also set up motion zones to say I want motion detected in only specific areas. So I can go drag this around and say, hey, I only want to pick up motion that happens at this door, for example. And I can create multiple motion zones as well if I wish. So I'll just discard this for the moment, but that's how easy it is to get done. Smart zones are very similar, but this is more focused towards AI. So let's say, for example, I want to pick up animals. So if there's any animals going past the front of this building, I can say, hey, I only want to look at a specific segment where I'm looking to pick this up, or any other type of smart AI capability. You can also add line crossing. So line crossing would be just literally if somebody's moving from point A to point B, or vice versa, or both directions even. And I can say from here that I want to pick up animals, people, vehicles, and I can also add count into it. So, and when I want to reset this count. Super simple to get this done. And again, this is built into the camera. Um, just a note here that not all the cameras have the exact same capabilities. This is an AI Pro, so it has the enhanced AI built into it. Another important one might be privacy blackouts. So if there's like a neighbor's window that you shouldn't be looking into, then that's something you can turn on as well. And of course, overlays, so we can see the bitrate, timestamps, etc. added into this. Depending on the camera, you also have that zoom capability. So if I want to zoom into a space a little bit more, so let's say this AI Pro, I want the max zoom to be applied. So it takes a few seconds for that to come through. And there we go. There's the maximum zoom. So if you're looking down aisles and stuff like that, you can basically change that to whatever field of view you want if the camera supports varifocal lenses. I can also adjust the focus. So if I say I want to basically play around with the focus and say I want the foreground or background to be a little bit more in focus, I can adapt that as well. You'll see the camera here adapting to that. By default, it's pretty good though, so I wouldn't spend too much time with that unless you're struggling with a camera. Of course, through here you can do the stuff like taking snapshots, etc. But most of the time you're just going to be using this to set the cameras up. Um, you also have the ability to listen to the audio, but this is more from a viewer perspective. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So cameras are set up, they are adopted, all showing online. The updates will automatically show up here. Your settings are configured, your system log. So if you want to see what happens in this environment or what's triggered certain things to occur, then you can do that as well. And you can do it on a per device level or even per category. So let's say I want to see all the detections where there was a package or a specific thing. I can add that into it. So let's just go package. That's it. So there's no package detected in this environment, but another one might be, for example, animals detected, babies crying, a broad variety of stuff here. As one of the final steps, you'll typically want to go and do the alarm manager. So alarm manager is used for creating specific alerts. So as a good example, this is at a warehouse. So let's say if there's any unknown faces that enter this warehouse space during, in this instance, we'll just go always, on this camera, then please notify the warehouse manager, which in this case is Alex. And to get this created, you can just go new face, go create, and that's it. As soon as a new person enters that area, it will notify me that an unknown face has been detected. And this can be either as the notification on email or your mobile app. You can customize that to your heart's desire. Your customers are going to have tons of different unique scenarios here. Stuff like LPR and facial recognition relies on that advanced AI capability. So if you're not seeing the same thing, don't stress. It just means you need one of the AI models. Another thing to note is most of your cameras, your AI capable cameras, will have the ability to do stuff like person recognition, vehicle recognition, and animal recognition. This won't go as far as saying, hey, it's a specific person's face, etc., but it is available on more of the G5 range. So basically, if you just want to get an alert, if a person is in an area or if a vehicle's in an area, that's the way we can do it. And we have a ton of options around here. So stuff like line crossing, loitering, ringing. So if someone presses the doorbell, because it's integrated back to the access portion, on specific sounds. So let's say if I hear glass breakage during, I don't know, 6 p.m. to midnight or something along those lines, I can go adjust this to send me an alert during those time intervals. Again, select the camera, notify, and which person you want to get notified. Um, Depending on the actions you want to take and what's available in your environment, you can also do stuff like if a known face is detected, it should unlock a door or play a sound or move the PTZ to a certain area. Broad flexibility around this. And one thing that is often overlooked is the inner space segment. So if your customer is looking to get an overview of the environment, this one isn't set up, but I can quickly jump to one that is. So I'm just going to go do that. And this allows me to get an overview of what is running in my environment. So just a map. I've added my cameras on manually. I can change their position. I've drawn in the walls, and if I click on it, I can very easily see the video footage from this. I can calibrate the view as it's displayed on here. If I just want to get a very quick overview of what's happening there, I can quickly take a look. Another impressive way to do this as well is if you have access control that's tied into this, I can tap on the button to unlock the door remotely from here. So a super powerful way to do it. And really that covers most of the features on the setup portion. For your customers' ability to view this environment, there's a ton more settings around the live view, the like filtering per person, etc. So I'll quickly change back to our Melbourne environment and we can quickly run through it. We are also going to have a video on our channel for this shortly to show your customers how to interact with their cameras. So we'll start off with the dashboard. Dashboard is just the live view of all the cameras in your environment. I can customize this view. You'll see I have 2 regular cameras and then 2 access readers, and I can customize this view if I wanted to. So I can create a new multi-view. You can go up to a 26 by or 26 camera view, so tons of different layout options. And I can basically say, okay, cool, this 7 by 7 layout, I don't have that many cameras, but what I can do is I can just drag them into the individual space where I want them, and you'll see how quickly we can populate this environment. So save, done. You now have a new view. If I want to switch over to any view, I can go to all views, new view, and whatever I've configured. Again, you can also change the picture quality here, view this in full screen, get a nice overview of the live space. If you hover over most of these, you will also get the ability to do stuff like speaking to the camera if you need to quickly chat to someone who's at the door. The two-way audio on these devices are exceptionally well done. I do recommend checking that out as well. For quick screenshots or something like that, I do have that capability. And if it's a camera that has door control, so this is on the actual reader, I can click to unlock the door here or even talk to the person on the other side. So very quick, easy way to do it. Next thing we're going to do is we can do playback. So for playback, as the name suggests, we want to look at what's happened in the environment. Ubiquiti has some extremely fast scrubbing. This probably won't be as fast because I'm doing it through the internet. But if I wanted to scrub to certain events, so there's the zooming out we did a little bit earlier, then we can very easily see what's happened. And exporting this footage is just as quickly. So if I go video archiving, that will push that back to the archiving we've set up before. Um, we can do multi-camera view as well. Or I can do stuff like add this to a case. So cases will show next, but that's basically if event occurred and you want to share this with someone. But to like view the video footage, download, etc., it's extremely simple. You can also do it just by detection, so all the cars, all the people, the vehicles, all the animals, etc. as well. So there's a sedan turning in, for example. SUV sedan is changing because it's very far away. This obviously isn't set up to be the best LPR camera or something like that. It's just in our office. So super quick to get the playback done. The one thing that is very valuable to me is the find anything option. So find anything allows us to do uh, basically, as the name implies, find door access events, person events, vehicle events, line crossing, when the doorbell's rung, animals, etc. So we'll very quickly go through this. There's two segments. So you'll see person is shown here and then on the side, as well as vehicle. When you do it on the side, you do get a bit more options. So basically you can filter it a little bit better that way, but we'll do a quick overview here. So let's say something's happened. I want to see a parcel that came in a little bit earlier today. And I know the vehicle that brought it was a DHL vehicle, and I want to see what DHL vehicles came into the space today. So what I'm going to very quickly do is I'm just going to firstly go, well, what color vehicle was it? It's a yellow vehicle. Okay, cool. All my yellow vehicles are shown. If I have the license plate detected, it will also show me the license plate that it picked up as well. And if I want to view this event, I just tap on it and there's the truck going out. I'm always very impressed that it's capable of picking up license plates because this is going through a glass door. It's not really designed for this environment. But yeah, this is a super easy way to do it. In future, we will also have the ability to do um, basically text-based search. So you'll be able to say, hey, I want to see all the yellow DHL vans, and we'll try to find you that reference. That is a future supported feature. It is not currently available. But for now, we can filter this to whatever we want to, and we can go, hey, I want to see all the white buses, for example. You can see all the buses going past. Same thing applies for people, although this will just basically be a blanket filter, so we can go, I want to see all instances or all the faces in this environment. Comes up with a broad list. This is a little bit confusing, so we'll show you a better way to do this in a moment. All the line crossing events, like if I've set up line crossing, there's additional filtering capabilities here. Any ring event, so that would be if someone presses the doorbell, and I can quickly go into that. Any animals. We've got a very vicious magpie in our office in Melbourne, and he keeps hanging around. And I see they're multiplying as well. Or any type of audio event. So this to me is actually often overlooked. So stuff like car alarms. So let's say there was something that happened after hours. This looks exactly like that, 5 a.m. Some alarm went off. This picks up that audio and sends an alert for it, or creates an alert for it. And if I wanted to review this, I can see if anything happened during this time. Maybe it was a false alarm, maybe it was a car outside, or something along those lines. If I wanted to, again, archive this or add it to a case, super simple to do. So audio detections are kind of underutilized, and there is a ton of them. Please do make use of that. Okay, so let's go to person. So it looks very similar to what we've already seen, but what we can do via this is go to faces. I don't know how many faces I'm going to be allowed to share here, but I'll show at least the top two on the left-hand side. So Max and Jack, who work in our Melbourne office. So this shows me all the faces that it's picked up, and if I clicked on this, it will show me all the instances where it's picked up this person as well. So it's seen Max a couple of times in the last 20 hours, and if I wanted to go to any of these events, I just again click on it, and we can see exactly what's happened during that event. Same thing for any of the other people that entered this premise. If I want to flag certain things, so let's say, for example, add a name to a person, just add that in, and I can also flag it as a person of interest. So let's say this is someone that's entered your building before and maybe left with something that they shouldn't have, then you can flag them as a person of interest and set up an alert to say that if they enter this premise again, you should get notified about that. So very easy to get this implemented again. You can also show all faces, known faces, unknown faces, and if you have some faces that it's the same face or same person, but it's detected as multiple different faces, you can merge faces as well and basically learns from that. I can also specify a date range here if I wanted to. For vehicles, same thing as we saw before. We just have the additional capability of looking at license plates and license plate filtering. So tons of plates already picked up. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to show, but I can see all the events that have occurred. And if I want to search for a specific plate, I can do that in here. Very cool way to quickly reference what's happened. And if I want to view anything, I just tap on the button to do it. Lastly, Case Manager. So this is a super intuitive tool for, let's say, an incident occurring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just call this new case. So we'll just say magpie attack, and we can add a brief description in there if we wanted to, but we'll just go save. And this event is now created. And let's say I want to add the vicious magpies into this. So let's go to find anything. I want to find all the animals. Okay, there's a couple of them here, so they've come across multiple days. So I can either download this video clip or I can just go, hey, I want to add this to a case. I'll go, this is part of the magpie attack. Walking menacingly, I'm not going to spell all of that, but basically walking past the building, add it in, and that is now part of the case. I can view that on here as well. Same thing for all of the other ones. So add to case as well, magpie attack, and add it in. If I go back to my cases, and I'll see my magpie attack is here, I can add and see all the descriptions. And if I now want to show this to anyone, I just click on the download button, create a PDF with the screenshots as well as the video footage, which gets downloaded separately. So obviously the video footage can't get embedded in the PDF, but it creates a backup of the video footage and a PDF to explain what exactly has happened. So if you're trying to export stuff for the police, super quick way to do it. And that's pretty much the entire Protect setup. This video is a little bit longer because there's a fair amount of stuff to go through, but most of the people find this super intuitive to do, and most of the times you get to set up in a few minutes anyway. So we will have a separate video on how to do this from a customer's perspective. One final note is that you do obviously have the ability to add users into this environment as well. So if you have a bunch of users that need to see the cameras, whatever you want to set up, you can obviously do that. And we're going to do a separate video on showing you how to add these users in, how they access the video footage, and what their account roles allow them to see and do. You do have granular control over these users as well, to say some users have access to specific cameras and others not, or some might only see live view and some can only see playback. So tons of flexibility around that. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it helpful. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your Leader account manager. Alternatively, you're welcome to reach out to the Leader technical support team as well. So with that, thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers.